Hey writers, welcome to me on the sofa, and today I want to talk about writing difficulties, and I'm going to give you a very specific process that's really going to help if you are experiencing writing difficulties. So writing difficulties, that's quite a broad term, and what I want for you to understand is that I want to keep it broad. And there's a very specific reason for this. If we take a writing difficulty and we go into a lot of detail and we get really specific about what that difficulty is, we've created a whole reason as why we have this difficulty. And when we put a reason in place, we're justifying it, and it becomes quite difficult to then break free of that. So let me give you an example. It might be that I'm experiencing a writing difficulty because I think to myself, well, here I am and I really like coming up with ideas, but it's not so fun to have to sit down and actually write the idea out. I like to just be a real dreamer, and I like to just wander around through my life just coming up with ideas here and there. But writing is kind of boring, it's sort of lonely, and I just find it really challenging. So I've created this whole story around the writing difficulty, and then that makes me feel more and more challenged by that story because I start to really believe in it. I start to think, yeah, I'm the kind of person that likes to come up with ideas but doesn't like to write them out. And so I've got this story, I've got this identity in the story, and suddenly I'm really immersed in this whole situation of the specificity of my writing difficulty, and it becomes harder to get out. So here's a really nice little process that is going to help you come into the more general and loosen yourself up from the story and all that detail and find the freedom and get over the writing difficulty. So one really useful question to ask yourself is, what must I believe? What must I believe to make this specific area difficult? So let's come back to my example. If I'm going around saying, yeah, I'm the kind of person who loves to come up with ideas, but I don't like having to spend the time sitting and writing them out. It's sort of lonely. It's not that much fun. So what's the belief that's going on there? What must I believe about myself to want to stay in the place of the idea and not actually get down and do the writing? Now, this is a really fruitful place to work when I'm coaching with a writer, and we will spend a little bit of time digging with questions, and I'll be listening to their answers. But here's a little bit what it looks like. So if a writer were to say that to me, I might say something like, what do you believe about your ability to turn the idea into words that makes it much more interesting to stay in the place of the idea and not come into the place of actually writing them down? And they might say something like, well, I just believe it's boring to actually sit and write. I believe it's much more fun to have the idea in the first place. So do you see, there's that belief that like writing is boring. Ideas are fun, but writing is boring. And if you're carrying that belief, it's going to create a real writing difficulty. So then we start to loosen ourselves up from it. So rather than have the whole story, we just stick with the fact of, I believe that writing is boring. And then it becomes simpler to start to work with that, because then we can come into a much more curious perspective where we start to say to ourselves, I don't have to have that belief. That belief isn't necessarily true, but it's what I'm choosing to think. And so then we can start to get a little bit creative with it, and we can start to say, well, if I'm choosing to think that, why not choose to think something else? Why not choose to think of all the ways that writing can be fun, or of all the ways that my life can be fun because I'm sitting down and I'm writing books and I'm selling them and I'm changing my life and I'm becoming the writer that I really want to be. So we start to open it up. So here we go, this whole process where we make sure that if we've got a writing difficulty, we just take a look and we say, how specific am I making this difficulty? And how compelling am I making it by creating this whole story around it, giving myself a role in the story? And can I just take a step back and say, what must I believe to be telling this story, to be having this difficulty? And then once you've got the belief, you can start to say to yourself, if I'm choosing to believe that, what else could I choose to believe? And then get creative, have fun, enjoy it, And remember that writing, it's a way of life. It's this call of inspiration from your future saying, hey, you've got a gift. Get on with it. Make your life amazing. So there we go, a little bit of a process to help you if you are experiencing writing difficulties, a way of working with the belief that is at the foundation of that difficulty. If you found that process useful, then you are really going to love it on my Facebook group. And we do these processes twice a week. We do 2 live sessions a week. So you're really going to get a lot of benefit if you feel that this work is calling to you, if you feel that this work has come inside you a little bit and sort of switched something on with you. We'd love to have you with us. And if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, then why not? We really want to be here for you. We want to be supporting you in your writing journey. So do think about subscribing so that you can keep track of these videos, so that you can be here with me next week on the sofa for more ways to become the writer that I know that you can be. So I'll see you next Monday.